So I'm Judy Cortez. I'm here interviewing Mr. Mark Carrillo.
That's right.
So when you visited our class, you were talking about how you've been in the business for a while. How long have you been in this business?
42 years. So started in '76 and took some courses at SAC and never looked back.
And in becoming a DJ or disc jockey, what was the biggest obstacle you had in becoming one?
You know, to be honest with you, I didn't really have any obstacles. If anything, there was an obstacle at San Antonio College. The board wasn't working, or the recorder. It was I want to say it was a Magnacord, an old Magnacord recorder wasn't working properly. And since I was the assistant news director on KSYM, I ended up doing news on the SAC show, which was the San Antonio College show on KTSA. Trinity's radio students were on the Trinity show on KTFL, and so I did the news on there because I couldn't put an air check, a tape together to audition for the SAC show to disc jockey on there, and so ended up doing the news. But it was quite fortunate that the only obstacle I had came from SAC, but it in turn got me a job on the radio because KTSA came calling. They were the monster top 40 radio station for about 10 years, and they came calling my third semester, and my career was pretty much born. So turns out the obstacle came from where I was at school, and it turned into a blessing, and I became the disc jockey that I wanted to be.
That's really awesome. And what's the best piece of advice that you would give to students wanting to take on your career?
I would say that it's a different animal. I was fortunate to work during the golden days of radio, and ever since the Radio Act of 1996 changed the ownership rules, things have gone south. You add the technology aspect that was all developed after that, and the need for radio has changed because people have so many other choices. I still burn a CD every once a year. You know, I listen to Celestial Radio, which is the satellite, Sirius XM, but I don't really listen to terrestrial anymore myself. So even my habits have changed. But I'm old-fashioned. I've never owned an iPod. I bought them for my sons. I've never owned anything to get music. I don't even have an account with the iTunes or whatever they call it. I know that sounds old to say but it sounds cool. The iTunes. So I'm still old-fashioned in that way. But since the laws changed, not the laws, the animal has changed. The whole thing about radio has changed. My advice to anybody would be to tread lightly and be very sure what you're going to do, as well as be prepared by keeping your eyes and ears open to all aspects of the business. If you're going to be on the air, that's great, but also know how to be a producer, how to edit, how to do more than just be a personality, or more than just a disc jockey. If you're just a disc jockey, that's fine. If you want to be an air personality, then you have to be born with the gift of gab, like me, you know, because I was born this way. So, you know, I'm the Prime Minister of Silk, and it was just one thing I have. I can't barely hammer a nail. I can't even draw a straight line. I can't even draw a bath. I'm not artistic. I don't. My only skills are in my head and my mouth, which is God's gift to me. But those are my blessings, and that's really been fantastic for me because I can do crazy things with my voice. I can sound young, I can sound old, I can sing, I can all these things. I write, and all those things are in here, but I don't have anything that could probably earn me any money outside of that. And my limited skills are to entertainment. I don't think up here I was built to understand anything more than related math 1. And I got to take my shoes off to count to 20. So it's fortunate that I have that. What I would say is everybody be prepared to learn other things around your business, which may take you in a different direction, and that can be good too.
And drove you to want to become a DJ or a disc jockey?
Let's just say that I like the word disc jockey.
I do too.
Yeah, I like it better than DJ because now everybody's DJ this and DJ that, and now they're DJ like not radio DJs. They're DJs that, which I had a service for a long time. Mobile type. EDM and that stuff. I don't want to be confused with them. I'm a disc jockey, and that's how I roll. And even though I play a lot of their music on my radio show now, because I'm doing hot AC and 2 stations I do a radio show for, and there's a lot of DJs, but I don't want them to be confused with what you want to do and what I am. So I'm a disc jockey. But I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh no, it's all good. It was what drove you to
Drove me. You know what? It was timing. In 1962, I was 5 years old. I listened to the radio because we didn't have the stuff y'all have now. You know? We didn't even have microwave oven. We had nothing. We had 3 network channels, 1 PBS channel, 1 Spanish language channel, and everything else was playing outside. You've seen the memes about, we played outside. We played outside. So that's all we had was were the electronics. We got to go to movies. We went bowling. We did some fun stuff, but the radio was very much a big deal. I have a sister who's 11 years older. She was a huge influence with her musical tastes, and so if you go back to '62, I was hearing songs like "Sherry" by the Four Seasons, and that song stands out. Another song that was popular then about our satellite Telstar, and it was by a group from England called the Tornadoes, which had this wacky sound to it. It was a great rock record, and those were the songs that turned me on. And then, for some reason or another, music was just my thing, and then I would follow the charts. The charts were a big deal. On the weekends, the disc jockeys in the late '60s would have, it's the Firecracker 500 on the 4th of July, and you get to hear the top songs. Man, I'd be listening to the top 10, what's the number 1 song? Oh my gosh. And then in '72, my mom got me a Panasonic tape recorder. I slept on the floor till '72. Until I was 14, 15, I slept on the floor. So to have something this magical, because we were poor, mom worked hard. But when she could afford me this Panasonic tape recorder, I would record my favorite disc jockeys, and some I actually got to work with later, a few years later. They're now passed, but I consider them my friends, and the fact that I am also in the Texas Radio Hall of Fame with them makes me so humble. And that's how it really was just a matter of all these influences. My sister, the fact that radio was so prominent, my joy for music, and then when I was about 10 or 11, I really started singing, and would later on go on to sing. So I got to do everything in music that I really wanted to do. I didn't want to really be a rock star. I'm not sure that I was smart enough to know it was not all it was up to be, but I just didn't think that way. I was thinking about maybe radio, and in all honesty, when I got out of high school, I jumped right into SAC, and I don't know that I was thinking that much about radio, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. It just wasn't eating up all of my time. It wasn't all about that. It's just that I got out of high school, I want to do radio. I had nothing else to think about, and then I just did it, and then realized that I had an aptitude for it. So that's what really drove me. And then my first day at SAC, I want to say it was my first day, one of my first classes. One of the professors, after a class he was instructing, and I got up and did a 60-second commercial cold without really proofreading it, maybe just a quick glance. I got up and did it. Had a lot of consonants, and not everybody can do that sort of thing. I also have an aptitude for telling the difference between 60 seconds and 30 seconds and stuff. It's kind of I have a watch timing thing inside me. And he came out he followed me after class that day, and he said, "Hey Mark, you don't need to take the announcing class." And that's what really drove me too. It's like, okay, I think I'm on the right track. So he really did that. But the drive was always about the music, the fun, the disc jockeys, and there's still some of that to be found, but it's so automated now that I think some of the punch has been taken out of it. And the listener is missing from radio now. The listener has been detached because so much of it is automated. There's no listener calling in. And it's not about making requests. It's about personal appearances, promotions, connecting with them instead of just presenting music and then it seeming like a disc jockey. So yeah, it's a different animal. I feel very lucky.
Yeah, and do you think everything being automated now is affecting the amount of jobs open for disc jockeys?
Absolutely. We all just fell by the wayside. I was not replaced by another disc jockey. Everybody knows that in the entertainment business, you're at the whim of the boss and their attitudes on how they envision things. In the radio business, it's not like any other business where you have to have a reason to let someone go. In radio, it's just, we're going in a different direction. We want to try something else. They never had to have a reason to let you go.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about getting away with stuff. We got away with a bunch of stuff. That's not really it. It was just that's how they did business in the entertainment business. So yeah, the jobs are fewer. And as soon as, right after I left, anybody that was there longer than me, they were gone in short order because ultimately the companies had to remain lean. And when you have people that have been there, I was only there 15 and a half years. There was guys behind me that they're lots longer, and they were gone. Good people like my friends Dave Griffith, Megan Bishop, who's still on the radio on the radio. Dave has, well, not Dave, he hasn't been on the radio in years, but he left not long after me. And so yeah, there are fewer jobs and there's more automation. And you can actually make more working here at Chester's than you would doing a radio show on the weekends because it's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And the show I do now, I do more hours than when I was on the air. I do 6-hour show, but I do my show prep, my bits. In my case, it's not, pre-recorded or lots of bells and whistles. Mine is all about subject delivering the punchline. That's my entertainment. So I have my stuff done, my jokes or punchlines or whatever. I do my show. I can do it in half an hour now with technology. So that's why doing radio now, if you don't have a full-time shift and you're not doing morning drive, afternoons, middays has bounced back a little bit. There are actually some people doing middays live again, but quite frankly, those positions are all going to be automated elsewhere during the day. So there aren't as many positions. What you're doing is very good luck, and I wish you the best in that. I want you to be able to pop through all that. You just have to be more clever than the other person and be good, be positive. Work on how you project yourself and all that, and you could slip in there, absolutely.
And as the disc jockey, do you get any input on what music the station plays? Or?
No, never. Well, with the exception of one place. After I did news for KTSA, I ended up at Kiss K-Mac, which was the last of the freeform album rock stations, and we had to play whatever we wanted, but that was not something that is commonplace in radio. You don't ever get the opportunity to play what you want. Mm-hmm. There may be an opportunity where there are 3 or 4 songs in a group, and they may let you pick one, but for the most part, no. And that's why it's always been it's kind of been a bummer when people call the radio station. They never play my song. They don't play your song because it's not a request line. It's a listener line. Yeah. It's a listener line. And they don't understand the meaning of request. A request means you're requesting it. It doesn't mean we're going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the same token, the music is all planned out. Mm-hmm. It is, and even more so now with fancy computers and all. The categories, they're there, and the songs are those positions. It's up to the program director every week to build those playlists for 24 hours, and they go by, some songs will be popular, and they look at sales, and nowadays they probably look at a lot more than that because now you have internet stuff to contend with, and then you have to see what the trends are, and that's how you judge where the songs go. But to be able to play a song that you wanted to that's not part of the deal when you're a disc jockey. And so to play a song that you want to play is it's neither here nor there. But yeah, I was fortunate for a while, there when I was at Kiss K-Mac for a short time, that yeah, we got to play whatever we wanted, and that was very cool.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Go ahead.
what would you say was the most rewarding part of being a DJ?
Man, I don't know that I could single one thing out. Naturally, to have been a success, my wife, who's had a kind of a crazy run coming from banking. She did banking for 30 years, and it's been a mess since 2008. She's ended up leaving banking, and lots of turmoil and upheaval and financial industry and all that, and her, pretty much ruined her business. She's doing something she doesn't want to do anymore. She's always telling me, "You're lucky, Mark. You got to do what you wanted to do. You got to live your dream." I lived my dream. I lived it tenfold. When I was 25 years old, I thought, wow, this is really cool. And I didn't even realize that there was so much more to come. And at that time, I didn't think I was going to end up in a Hall of Fame, much less two of them, San Antonio Radio Hall of Fame and Texas Radio Hall of Fame. I had no idea. I just had ambitions to be an entertainer. I was born an entertainer. If anything, I was born an entertainer. The disc jockey thing was my outlet, my form. Sure, I get to sing on stage. I get to even sing on stage with certain times in a production like the local gridiron show that's put on by the journalists around here. And there's those times, but I'm an open-faced ham sandwich, and I was born to do this. So I feel like, yeah, I really did get to do what I want to do, and I grabbed it by the horns, and I was boss, man. I was boss at it, quite frankly. Really got lucky. Worked at 16 radio stations in this town. I had my career. I never had to leave. To be well known in your own hometown, and it's not like being a big fish in a small pond. This is San Antonio, Texas.
Exactly.
This is huge. I didn't need to go anywhere else. Would I want to go to California? Would I want to go to Chicago, New York, any of that? I really had no interest. In fact, I don't even travel much, so I couldn't care less. In the radio business, that was important to be able to move around, because you can make more money and you could be more successful, but when you're on top, there's only one place to go, and that's down. So even if you got to experience that and maybe have a chance to make a lot of money, not everyone can do that consistently. It's not something that lasts forever or even for a long time, because radio, like anything else, is tumultuous, and you're hot one moment and bam. And that's not to say that a lot of disc jockeys haven't stayed somewhere for a long time. Well, they have. But I just had a blast, and to think that I'm back on the radio, and then I do commercials from coast to coast every day. Millions of people hear me. My son in Alaska hears me. He lives there, and he calls me, "Dad, coming back from Denali, and I can't get away from you." So, man, I'm living the dream.
That's really awesome, and so thank you so much for your time. And
I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you asking me.
And I'm hoping to see you again.
Well, I'm always around.
Thank you.